Okay, hello everyone. It is 6:56, so technically we don't start for another 4 minutes. But let me know if you can see this. Go ahead and type in the comments that you can hear me okay and you can see me. I'd also like to invite a somewhat different framework for this Facebook Live. And I'd like to, well, my intention is to give you about 30 minutes of some content that I've prepared here, and then spend up to another 30 minutes. So I basically blocked out till 8 o'clock Eastern. So I'd like to invite any Q&As, and I can give you my phone number, and you can give me a call, and we'll get some people on live if you guys have some questions. I'm really just called to be super valuable for you and show up for you in the most giving and authentic and vulnerable way. I'm really excited to share with you some awarenesses that I've had over 2019, and I also want to give you some tangible strategies and things that you can do immediately after this call that will directly impact your human experience. And specifically, what I believe, what I will share, if your experience is like many others I've shared this with, and that I've also experienced in my life and in my experience. But if you're like us, you'll probably see a lot of depth begin to form in the relationships that you have, whether they're friend-colleague relationships, whether they're business relationships, family relationships, children relationships, relationships in this community, Mindset University. So that's kind of what I intend on today. And I know I'm getting started here a few minutes early, but I do want to make sure that everybody can see me and you can hear me. So go ahead and type in the comments if you can see me or hear me. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes. Okay, Facebook is telling me that we are live. So it's an honor to be here, first of all. And thank you, Rob, for the wonderful invitation to connect with this community. And I just want to acknowledge that because you are here and part of this community, that says a lot about you. It says that you are committed to growth, and whatever that looks like. We might be feeling called to grow in different ways, but ultimately I just want to acknowledge you for being here. The fact that you are taking 60 minutes out of your evening to engage in content that's going to impact you and also ultimately help you grow. I believe we're all responsible for our own growth. Nobody's going to do it for us, right? So being intentional about the time that we spend, and time is our most precious commodity. There is nothing else other than each moment that we have. That's literally why they call it the present. It's a gift to us, each moment. So to use those moments and intend on being of highest and best use and highest and best service to the people around us and to ourselves, there's really no greater honor and responsibility, in my opinion. So just want to acknowledge you again for being here. And it's 7 o'clock. So I'd like to go ahead and dive in. Again, I just want to make sure. Actually, let me go ahead and use my phone here and see if I can hear myself. This might sound a little weird, and Um, please excuse me if it sounds a little off, but I just want to make sure that I'm coming in loud and clear here. Okay. If it sounds a little off, but I think we're good. All right. So so let's go ahead and dive in. If you're wondering what I'm wearing a weighted vest. My commitment is to wear it until I go to bed. I'll actually share a little bit more about that as we progress here on this journey that we're taking together. So again, thank you to Rob. Thank you for allowing me to engage with this community. And I know a lot of you out there, and so it's probably not the first time that we've engaged or we've had a conversation or that you've seen me on a video or whatever. But if you have, welcome. And I'm really looking forward to adding value to you and adding value to your experience, not just in this community, but I believe that the power of an event, the power of time that we use can be gauged based on what we do after. So my goal is to inspire you to take some action after we're done here today. And that choice is yours. So that is the empowering, and it's kind of like the double-edged sword. It's almost easier to not have any other options, right? But we have tons of options. That's the journey of being human. We get to choose. And we can choose the path of highest and best use or not. And in that, there's some challenges. So my goal today is to empathize with that and to, from one brother to another brother or sister that's watching this and engaging with me in this conversation, I just want to acknowledge that. And so I'm really looking forward to delivering. Rob, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. So one of the things that we're going to be, there's actually a few things that we're going to cover today, but let me just first set the framework for what this conversation is going to look like. First, I want to give you a framework for a conversation that you can have. And so the 10,000 foot view of what we are doing here is we are unpacking a conversation that I am encouraging you to have with everybody in your life. And what I'm really appreciating right now, and this kind of came about as I was reflecting on 2019, and there's a lot of great things that are happening in my life and the people around me in their life. And, to some degree, I have an impact on their lives as well. So there's a lot that's happening right now in my experience. And so I was just reflecting on 2019 and asking myself some questions. And one of the things that came up for me was the importance of developing deep relationships. And it was so revealing to me, especially right after Thanksgiving. Yesterday, we had a Thanksgiving dinner as a family. We probably had 50 or 60 people at this Thanksgiving party that we threw. Me and my family, we love to connect, we love to entertain, and we love to have people. And that's one of the most amazing blessings that I've received from my family. And so I'm kind of paying that forward and carrying that forward. And my intention is to go deeper with my relationships. And I was challenged last night as I was just talking to friends, family, and it's just so easy to keep the conversation surface level. And if you can relate to that, let me know in the comments. But just, generally when we're keeping conversation surface level, it's usually like we're talking about other people, or we're talking about sometimes drama and just things that really aren't in the energy of transformation. So, I just want to share one thing just to kind of preface my attitude towards this. I believe that and if you're in this community, you probably feel the same way as well. But I just believe that if I'm not in conversation that has the energy of transformation, it's not a conversation that serves anybody, because I believe that like transformation is so important to fulfilling our purpose. And when we get to the end of our life, to squeeze out every bit of juice that we have in us for the betterment of our communities and for the world. Like, be the change that you want to see in the world. So that's kind of my attitude on it, is I just want to be useful. I want to be of highest and best use. And I know that developing deep relationships, like the relationship that I have with Rob, like you guys have heard us probably on like the podcast and stuff, like the conversations that we have aren't just like that on a podcast. Like that's literally just like a fly on the wall and us having a normal conversation. So one of the things I just really appreciate about Rob and my relationship with him is that we go deep. Like nothing is surface level in our relationship. And it's all in spirit of transformation and doing better things. And, ultimately like building the legacy that we're called to build. And I could talk a lot about that and my struggles with that. In fact, I'll probably get into that a little bit, but I just want to acknowledge the importance of that intention of having deep relationships. And so I started reflecting on 2019, and I asked myself a few questions. Like these questions were just coming up for me, and I was challenged by them. But it also, like, in answering these questions, and by the way, I just want to also thank you for allowing me to talk about this, because every time I talk about this, I get more clear on these questions too. So that's another aha that if you have pen and paper, I would absolutely, be ready to take some notes on the questions that I ask, because I think they're such powerful questions, and just allow it to mean whatever it means for you. But these questions provided some clarity for me on what I appreciated about 2019, and also what I'm really looking forward to in 2020, and what's possible, and also what I'm being called to create. So kind of I'll share some of my answers to those questions, which, there's going to be some lessons around vulnerability, leadership, relationships, vision, purpose. So we'll dive into that a little bit. But I think one of the best gifts that I can give you on this video is the gift of this framework, because this framework just holds so much space for a conversation to go deep and to really connect on a deeper level and a more supportive level that supports transformation. So I'll just kind of share this with you. We'll go ahead and dive in. And if you have any questions or any awarenesses, I would love to hear from you in the comments section. And I just invite any awarenesses that you have. Like, this is an invitation to be vulnerable. This is an invitation to ask for support among the community. And that's the gift that is here in Mindset University. Is it's not just a place to, absorb content. This is a place to connect and a place to build some great relationships. There are a bunch of amazing people in this community. So I just, again, want to acknowledge that. So let's go ahead and dive in. So one of the things that I've been doing, and then I started asking myself, are, basically just putting together some questions. And the way that I like to structure these calls, and I recommend that you take 45 minutes, and whether it's in person or whether it's somebody like on the phone, if it's somebody that you might feel weird about doing this with somebody that really, really well, like your mother or, a sister or brother, just because they might know you to be a different way. But, there is a way that you can still have that conversation by just acknowledging your crave for deeper connection with them, and allowing them to honor that. But I think a great start, if you don't know who to start these conversations with, a great start would be anybody in this community. Heck, if you want to reach out to me, I would love to engage in this conversation with you. because I believe that this conversation it calls for such a deeper connection. So the first question that I like to ask, and by the way, the way that you do these, the way that you have these conversations is I think it's best that you share your perspective first, and then you allow the other person to share as well, and basically just flip the script and say, hey, do you mind if I, if I ask you the same questions? I would love to hear more about your perspective on that. And, and then jam out about how our experiences are either the same or different, or what we can learn. So the first question is, what accomplishments am I most proud of in 2019? So that would be one to write down and to journal on. And I invite you to share that in the comment section. So what accomplishments are you most proud of in 2019? And actually, I think this is really fitting, but one of the awarenesses that I've had around my accomplishments for 2019 is the fact that I've developed a better awareness of what I crave. And I crave that deep connection with people. So the thing that I'm doing with, the thing that we're sharing here on this video is one of the things that I'm really feeling just accomplished about and proud of, because having this awareness of wanting that deep connection, I just believe that all relationships, they thrive off the depth. So I'm just really appreciating, coming to that and allowing all this to be manifested. But this is also, a great question to ask. Like, if you're in business, if you're a salesperson, like I'm in real estate. So when I meet with clients and I start engaging in conversation that's at this level, it is just, it's amazing what's possible. It's weird at first, because normally, like, I remember I used to just keep it surface level, and if you're a salesperson, you might be able to relate to that, not being able to show like that true vulnerability and that true, heart that we all have within us. And sometimes we don't even know how to express it. And so, I mean, that's another path that we have to take in order to get there. But I'll just share a few of my, some of my most, the accomplishments of 2019 that I think are just really special to me is like the first one that comes to mind is being a father and becoming a father. And in June of this year, we welcomed Denver, our now 5-month-old son. And there's so many lessons that I've learned along the way with that, with leadership and how I want to show up for him, and thinking about my legacy and what I want him to learn from me, and how I want to. And it's really not like him. That's actually a terrible way of saying it. I don't know why I said it that way. It's really like how I truly feel about him is, how can I serve him? I want to serve him so that he has everything he needs from me that I could possibly give him. And there's probably other things that he needs that I can't give him. And that's just all part of life. But whatever he's going through, and whatever experiences that he has, I want to give the gift of the perspective that I have. And he, there might be a better perspective out there, but I want to give him my best. And so, so I'm really proud of the awarenesses that I've had around him. And also that leadership on how I show up for him has actually helped me show up in different ways for the other people in my life, including in my business. So I believe that, the leadership that I'm able to provide for people on my team, and, just clients and people that, that I can lead and that are open to my leadership and want to receive that leadership. I believe that having Denver, he's just taught me so much about what I have within me. And so, so that's been like a really awesome accomplishment. And through this, I'm also, like I said, I'm hoping to share with you some of the lessons that I've learned. So I'm literally just kind of like reading off my answers to these questions, and hopefully that impacts you at some capacity. But ultimately, I think just having these questions and the vision that comes from these questions is the most important. So the first question we just went through, so what accomplishments am I most proud of in 2019? The second question is, what are you looking forward to in 2020? So the first thing that I wrote down on this was, I'm really looking forward to deeper connections and having more conversations like this, and just getting, like, not being afraid to go deep. Like, hey, this is what's important for me. This is what I believe my purpose to be, is to have conversations like this and impact people. I want to be the most purposeful that I can be. And so, just that deeper connection, I'm really looking forward to seeing what is possible when showing up for every relationship in my life with this energy, and just inviting that transformation and inviting these tough questions. They can be tough, and because it causes us to be real, and it also causes us to use our imagination. And it's so easy to lose that sense of imagination because of how our society is and how structured everything is. And, most of society doesn't want us to have an imagination. They just want us to do what we're supposed to do. But, chances are that if you're in this community, you want to go outside the box. You want to develop that greater sense of awareness. And so the deeper connections, like I said, that's what's really, holding true for me. The conversations that inspire that connection are, like I said, they're beneficial everywhere: business, family, children, this community. Gosh, this is actually a challenge. I'd like to issue this challenge. If you're watching this right now, I challenge you to make more of this community. Like, how can you connect with more people in this community? I think there's like a couple hundred people in this community, and I would venture to say that most of you haven't connected with everybody in this community. So, like, allow that to be a challenge. What would it look like if you had these conversations with people? And I'll just tell you from my own personal experience, having these conversations with people that are in other communities, that not just this community, but, communities everywhere, my business community, my local community, people in, mastermind groups that I'm a part of. And having these conversations, it creates a sense of synergy, a sense of trust, and a sense of accountability also, to continue moving forward and transforming. So, so that was the first thing, is just, I'm looking forward to more conversations like this. The second thing is a new home. So me and Jen, we just found out that our offer got accepted on our new home. And, there's so much excitement there, because it really is our dream home. It has everything that we've ever wanted. And in fact, we had a conversation a few months ago and said, we have everything that we need here, but if we were to move, it would have to look like this. And it's so specific and so particular that, like, it's so hard to find that, at least in our area, in the area that we want to live in. And, like, this house just popped up. It just manifested out of nowhere. And it's not the best time for us to make this move, because we have so much other stuff going on. We just opened up another business less than 2 months ago. And there's obviously challenges and momentum that we're experiencing with that. And to uproot and move, let alone the financial commitment, it's a lot of money for us. And just being vulnerable to that. And I've never bought a house this expensive before. And I don't say that to, like, to be, like, oh, I've made it, because, like, that's all I know is that it's meant for me, because it materialized. It's exactly what Jen and I have been talking about, and we can do it, but it will be a challenge. And so what I'm really looking forward to also is delivering on that promise to my family and the promise to myself that I'm ready for the abundance. I'm ready for this next chapter. It requires a new identity. That identity, by the way, is more disciplined. That identity is more connected. It has deeper relationships. So all of the things that I'm being called to for 2020, they are all going to make this next move for our family possible and more empowering and more inspiring. And it's actually like a divine intervention that it's here, and it's challenging and it's scary, but man, I'm just so looking forward to that challenge. I want to be put in this place of there's no other option but to just be dialed in. And so, my intention is really just to further the work on my transformation. And, what I've experienced with transformation is I'll absorb some content like this and I'll be all fired up, and you might be listening to this and, you might be able to relate to this, where you're sitting in either an event or you're, absorbing some content, you're being present with this, with this content and absorbing it, getting fired up, getting clear, just having a sense of just total empowerment, leaving that event or the content. And what my experience has been is that there's usually there's usually a pretty good amount of things on my to-do list or the things that I intend on. And once I get back into the normal routines, I lose 50% of it, but the other 50% stick. And so, if you can relate to that, go ahead and comment in the comment section if that's you, because I can relate to that so much. The integration, I think, is so challenging and so much more important than the actual event itself, because that's only 50% of the work. The other 50% of the work happens in the integration process. So my journey has been to bring more back and integrate that, get a little bit better every single day. So that's one of the other things that I'm really looking forward to. So we've got the first two questions out of the way. The third question, I love this question because it keeps everything real. It shows the full picture. And that question is, what could get in the way of that? So when you're looking forward to these things in 2020, what could possibly get in the way of that? So I'll share a few things that, would get in the way of me and my vision and what's possible for me in 2020. A lack of clarity. And I find that when I'm not doing my daily practices, whether it be exercising, meditating, praying, journaling, reading, absorbing content, when I'm not doing those things, I get less clear. Just nothing else has to happen other than me not doing those things. And then it's guaranteed I'll just get less clear. And I know that could be a reason why, or something that can get in the way of me achieving those things I'm really looking forward to in 2020, and that I'm just so committed to claiming in 2020. And a lack of clarity, that could definitely get in the way. And, by answering that question is not only putting the awareness of what could possibly get in the way, but now automatically I'm starting to think of all the ways that I can just get more and more clarity. I can, have some processes or systems or reminders or set up my environment to inspire me to stay clear. So that was my first thing. The second thing that I feel could get in the way is a lack of discipline. And so what I've been doing, understanding that a lack of discipline has hurt me in the past. And what that looks like is, I intend on going to the gym first thing in the morning and then, end up not. Or I make an excuse as to why I can't, or I don't have time, or I find something else to do. Oh, let me work on my website, as if I can't do that any other time. So that has held me back in the past. It's also really impacted the trust that I have had in myself. And so one of the things that I intend on is to double down on my discipline and also increase the trust that I have within myself. And I know that when I trust myself more, my family trusts me more, my business partners trust me more, my clients trust me more, and the people who I have an opportunity to serve, they trust me more as well. So the only thing I have to worry about is just staying disciplined so I can continue building my trust within myself. So I'm curious to see how that lands with you guys. So if there's an awareness that you'd like to share, again, please like allow this to be interactive, even if you're not watching the live version of this. Still put it out into the universe. I would love to, get some feedback on what your thoughts are on all this. So one of the I'll give you a key here of, things that I'm doing right now to practice my discipline. And actually one thing right now is this weighted vest. So I just have a commitment to wear this vest, and I don't do it every day, but when I say I'm going to commit to doing it, I'm going to do it. And sometimes that looks like, running around the block with it, or doing some push-ups with it, or just walking around with it all day. Every single thing that I've done today for the latter half of the day has been with this 20-pound weighted vest. And I know I look ridiculous, but it's a commitment that I need to honor. It's a discipline. And so I'm just practicing my discipline. One of the awarenesses that I've also had that I'd love to share with you guys is this idea of embracing the suck. And that sounds kind of weird, but like what it means for me is embracing the suck, the things that suck, the things that we don't want to do. And if you're in sales, the one thing that just pops into everybody's head is prospecting, right? Prospecting oftentimes sucks. Nobody likes to prospect. Like, going to the gym, I don't understand how people can love going to the gym. I don't love going to the gym. It's not something that I'm like, I feel comfortable when that's discomfort. But embracing the suck and loving the suck doesn't mean that I know that it doesn't mean that it's not good for me. It just means that it's uncomfortable, right? So embracing that suck and doing more things that suck. So wearing a 20-pound vest, and I forgot that I didn't even put the two and two together that I'd be wearing this on this Facebook Live. And, that's why I'm like, all right, I'll just keep the fedora on, keep the glasses on, got my t-shirt, whatever. I'm just going to roll like how I've been rolling for the last couple hours. So you're getting me the most authentic version of myself, which is my intention for this. So I'm embracing the suck. The cold showers, I love the cold showers. They teach us so much because it sucks. Going to the gym, prospecting first thing in the morning when we have 3 hours in our schedule to prospect, to actually do 3 hours. In fact, do more than 3 hours, really embracing the suck. So I believe that on the other side of our comfort zone is transformation. And the only way to get transformation is to lean into our discomfort. So, that's kind of my intention for 2020 is to lean into my discomfort, see what makes me uncomfortable. And, I was actually talking about this earlier today with somebody, but when we're uncomfortable, it's really important to just sit with that feeling of discomfort because it's so easy to have the stimulus that creates the discomfort, and then we have a reaction right after the stimulus is experienced. But there is a way that you can have the stimulus and then space before the response. And that space is the space in which we look at the stimulus and we look at our automatic response as a bystander, almost like a third party, like I'm watching the movie of what my mind is doing right now, and choosing making the decision of highest and best potential. Because sometimes we have a stimulus and our first response is not the highest and best response. We might have to sit with that for, be like, okay, I just got slapped in the face. Let me just sit with that and see what I should do. And that's an exaggerated example, but the cold shower actually is a great example. So my experience with the cold shower is going into the cold shower slowly, feeling the stimulus of the cold shower and just taking it, breathing into it, and then deciding what my response is. And chances are, if you're already in the shower and you've taken the space, you'll say, well, yeah, I'm just going to keep rolling with this. I can do this. I feel more powerful because of it. And there is a power that we call on when we lean into that discomfort. All right, so hopefully you guys are enjoying this here. I've got a few more questions that I'll share with you, and that will finish up the dialogue and the framework for the conversation. And then if there's anybody that feels called to do some Q&A, go ahead and put a go ahead and let me know in the comments section. If not, then we'll go ahead and finish it up after the last few questions here. So we just asked, what could get in the way of that? We're looking for the roadblocks. We're looking for the landmines, if you will. And then the next question after that is, what is the cost of that? This is a tough one. It's a tough one because it invites the pain of what would happen if we didn't do what is of our highest and best potential. So going back to my answer, and I'll just be really vulnerable. I'm not going to hold anything back. Fuck it. So my lack of clarity and my lack of discipline could get in the way of experiencing what I'm really looking forward to in 2020. So the cost of that is the trust that I have within myself. It's the trust that Jen has in me as a spouse and as a provider. What's also at risk is the trust that my children have in me to be a father and to be there for them and to support them emotionally and spiritually and physically and in every way that a father does. So that's a big cost to lose that because I didn't feel like showing up, or I didn't feel like getting uncomfortable. I didn't allow the discomfort, even though there's no way that I could die from being uncomfortable. It's just, I just want to stay comfortable, right? Which is a weak position to have. It's not a purposeful position to have. That is an egoic position to have. And I choose not to be of my ego. I choose not to serve myself, but rather serve my purpose. And so I must have clarity and I must have discipline so that I can continue building the trust in myself and the trust that my family has and all of the people that count on me, keeping their trust and earning more of their trust. And just the cost of that would be, not being of highest and best use. We have this saying in real estate where a property is inspired to have it be of highest and best use. And I believe that also holds true for us as humans trying to navigate this life and figure out what our purpose is and what makes us happy. And I mean, that's really what we're all after anyway. We just want to feel happy. And I believe that we are happiest when we are purposeful, when we are contributing to a greater cause and purpose. So the cost of not being disciplined and not being clear is not being of highest and best use, literally wasted potential, unmanifested potential. So that's my answer to that question. So there's two last questions, and after talking about what's possible in 2020, what could get in the way of that, what would be on the line for that. Then there's the goals of, the specific goals for 2020, like the one intention, or maybe it's a few intentions, whatever feels right for you. But I wrote down a few goals, and so I'll just share these with you. My first goal is to impact the real estate industry, to be more purposeful. I believe that there's a lot of, not just people in real estate, but a lot of business owners have a lack of purpose in their business. And that's the reason why they get burnt out, or the reason why they get pissed off from their customers. If you have a purpose, a greater purpose, and I'll just share my purpose in real estate. I believe that the people that we serve deserve a better experience when buying or selling real estate or working in a real estate company. And that experience comes from growth and inspiring and empowering growth in the relationships that we have. So that's my purpose of just inspiring people to transform and grow and to experience the abundance that's available to everybody just on the other side of that comfort zone. And sometimes all we need is some accountability and some community and some motivation to just push through that comfort zone so we can experience what we're really meant to experience, which again is this community, which is I'm so grateful that I have this relationship with you after this conversation. So thank you for hanging in with me here. But that's my number one goal, is to impact the real estate on that level. My other goal is to just connect with really influential, awesome people that are building purposeful lives and purposeful businesses. Like I'm intending on creating an amazing network of people. I want to connect, and it's not just about like, it's not just about like, how much money people are making or whatever. I want to connect with we can learn something from everybody. And I want to connect deeply, because I know that the people that play at that level and they accept the invitation to go deep, I know that they want more for themselves. And that's something that I can learn from them, and they can possibly learn from me. All right. And we can add value to each other, a symbiotic relationship. So that's another goal, is to build an awesome network of influential, purposeful people. And by the way, one of the questions, this is probably something you should write down before you share your goals, is ask the permission, or get permission to ask for their support. So basically what that looks like is, if I'm having a conversation with Rob and I say, hey, Rob, I'd love to share my goals with you for 2020. And if it's okay with you, I'd also love for to ask for your support on that. Is that okay? And so you'll see kind of why that's important and why that pre-frame kind of sets it up. But ultimately, you share your goals. My goal is, like I said, to connect with great people. And then you ask for their support. So here's me asking support from you. If you're watching this video, this is a relationship that I've invested into, and I'm inviting you to invest in this relationship as well. And not just the relationship that you and I have, but the relationship that exists all around us in this community. So my ask is to pay it forward. I hope that after this video, you have a really good sense of what this conversation could look like for you. But it's important that you do this exercise for yourself, like journal about it. Like, this is literally my journal, just filled with all the things that I think are important for me. And it's me asking myself the question. So ask yourselves the question. And I promise you, the more you share this with people, the more real your commitments and your goals and the clarity will become. And it serves you to do it, and it also serves the person that you have a relationship with, that you intend on going deeper with. So my ask of you, assuming that you are supporting me in my goals, is to pay it forward and give this gift to the people in your life, and specifically this community. So I invite you to, like I said, take this framework, have conversations. Like, I'm really curious to hear about what some of your greatest accomplishments of 2019 are, and what you're really looking forward to in 2020. And that could also, you could either respond in the comment section here, or you could just, put it out on your Facebook page. Let everybody know. Say, hey, this is what I'm really committed to in 2020. And my ask is that I want to connect with great people. So if you're aligned with this vision, and if this vision makes sense to you, and you can appreciate the place that I'm coming from and from my heart, the ask that I have is, if there is anybody that comes to mind that I could connect with, or that you think would be a worthwhile connection to have, I would just really appreciate that. So that could be a call that you can have with anybody in this community, and it could be a call that you have with anybody in your sphere of influence, your business. It works everywhere. So I know I just went all over the map today, and I appreciate you for sticking in with me. It's been 45 minutes. So I haven't gotten anybody that wants to do the Q&A from what it looks like. So I'll just give about another 30 seconds or so for anybody to pop in and take the invitation of doing a Q&A. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And if you want to continue this conversation, I would love to connect with you. And Rob and I are, we have a wonderful relationship. We've been best friends for 13, 14 years now. And I know it's in his heart to add value to the lives of you guys. And so anything I can do to serve that purpose as well, that's what I am here for, and what I'm just honored and humbled to have the opportunity to do. So I think that's it. So thank you again for sticking in or sticking through this experience. I hope that was valuable for you. And I would also love to just invite more conversation about this. So I hope you have a wonderful night, and thank you again for the opportunity to serve you. Take care.